Mr. Chair, thank you, fellow committee members. House File 4295, also known as the Chicken Shift Bill. That's the shift bill, chicken shift. And folks, the chickens are coming home to roost. What? Was it that bad? And that is why we need this bill, ladies and gentlemen, because we do need the chickens to come home to roost and allow for people to be able to have chickens in their backyards and on their property. Over 11 million people in the United States right now are raising chickens due to the cost of eggs and other circumstances. They're almost like a pet, like a cat and a dog, but even better because they give you some sustenance. But the reason why this bill is in front of us today is because the county, we need clarity for the county feedlot officers and allow Minnesotans to be able to keep backyard chickens without unintentionally being subject to regulations meant for other purposes. This bill responds to the concerns that some Minnesotans keep chickens in their backyard. Coops may unintentionally meet a definition of a feedlot, hence the term chickens are coming home to roost. In the state law, and therefore being subject to state regulations that are intended for large agricultural operations. The solution is proposed in this bill would give county boards the option to adopting an ordinance making clear that state feedlot regulations don't apply to small chicken coops. A county's ordinance could allow for up to 24 chickens on a lot, but counties maintain the discretion to adopt smaller size number of chickens. That's a good thing. The bill in front of you right now was crafted in response to conversations with my good friends in Wright County that you'll hear from, and various agencies that began last year. The MPCA and the Department of Agriculture have each communicated their comfort with this approach, and that's a good thing. So we feel that we have achieved peace in the pasture on that front. I didn't write that, but I like that. That's good. Peace in the pasture. The issue was first raised to me by, as I said, Wright County, but you will see in the record, for the record, there's also a letter of support for this bill from the Association of Minnesota Counties. With me today is the Wright guy from Wright County, our County Administrator, Greg Kreiser, and that is my testifier, Mr. Chair.
And to the testifier to the right of the author, please introduce yourself and to your testimony.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members. My name is Greg Kreiser. I'm the Wright County Administrator, and I'll be honest and forthright here. Also, a proud owner of 4 backyard chickens. So, this bill addresses an unintended consequence of the feedlot regulations, and it does so by giving local communities the ability to adopt a local ordinance. The Association of Minnesota Counties supports this approach because it reflects that local communities across Minnesota are different. Your materials include a narrative, which I provided you, and a few aerial photos of a pasture in southern Wright County alongside Little Waverly Lake and the 12-Mile Creek. If you turn to page 2, it's kind of an aerial, larger photo of kind of the area, but then the last page has the zoomed in image of what is 13 dairy heifers having a wonderful time at pasture grazing. To do the math here, a heifer is 0.7 animal units, and with 13 heifers, that's 9.1 animal units. And they're perfectly legal out there in the pasture having a wonderful time out in southern Wright County. Now, when you apply that same math to chickens, a chicken is 0.005 animal units. That would be equivalent to 1,820 chickens walking around in the same pasture. If all those chickens are walking around out there doing what chickens do best, would be completely legal pasture. But if we put one of those chickens in a coop, it would meet the definition of a feedlot, and because it is in a confined space where manure will accumulate and where vegetation will not grow, it then becomes an illegal chicken coop and an illegal feedlot. So this bill addresses that inconsistency by giving counties the option to adopt a local ordinance exempting backyard chicken coops of up to 24 chickens from the feedlot designations. Counties can choose to act. Counties that don't are under no obligation to adopt it. We worked through this carefully with all the stakeholders last session, and the bill before you reflects that consensus, and I'd urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. And before you mentioned it confined, I was worried that my bird feeders were maybe against the rules too. Any members? Representative Coulter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative McDonald. I for bringing this forward. I have to tell you, this is giving me flashbacks to my time on city council when we debated backyard, raising chickens in your backyard in the city of Bloomington. But it did actually prompt a question, and I think maybe Mr. Gehring is going to be the one to answer this. So this bill, as I understand it, would allow counties to adopt regulation ordinances. I guess sort of my question is, what if a county adopts an ordinance, say Hennepin County, and then the city of Bloomington has a separate ordinance related to how many chickens are able to be contained, for lack of a better term, on someone's property, sort of which takes precedence, which sort of takes priority there?
Ms. Chelsea.
Chair Quam and Representative Coulter, I don't know. That's a great question. I'm happy to look into it for you.
Representative Greenman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I appreciate this. I have neighbors, I live in the city, but I have neighbors who have backyard chickens. I'm wondering if, Representative McDonald, do you have a coop for backyard chickens?
Mr. Chair, Representative Greenman, sometimes my wife wants me to be in the coop, but no, not yet.
Representative Greenman.
Thank you. I am surprised that I'm the first one to make a old McDonald has a farm joke. But that's where I was going. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Greenman. Perfect.
You know, and I want to make sure that we give Representative Coulter an opportunity for a humorous exchange. Okay. Chair Freiberg.
Unfortunately, Mr. Chair, I have a boring procedural question. I know there's so many, I know the humor opportunities on this bill are so rich, but where was this bill being referred?
It would go to the Environment
Okay.
Committee.
I think that's appropriate. I heard from the Environment Chair that they thought this should go there, and I do think Representative Coulter raised an interesting question too. Maybe before it gets heard there, we could just get some clarity on that question too, even though it won't be in this committee at that point, but it would just be good, I think, for members to know that. So appreciate it, and I think that's the appropriate motion.
Well, thank you. And frankly, we don't need the Gordon bill to be able to watch that committee over the internet. Any other discussion? To the author.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Committee members, I appreciate your support on this. Just in closing, just to remind folks, if you are not aware of the saying, the chickens come home to roost, what it means is it's a negative consequences of one's past actions, mistakes or wrongdoings, or bad decisions. And eventually that will catch up to them and cause more problems. And that is why we need this bill, to help all of our chicken farmers who like to have a little chicken fun. Did you say, Representative Greenman, you have chickens in your backyard? Oh, you want to? Well, once this bill becomes law, I'll help you collect the eggs. With that, Mr. Chair, members, thank you so much for your support. And I renew my motion for House File 40, what number is it? 4295, the Chicken Shift Bill, to be re-referred to the Environmental Committee, rather.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. And it passes and it's flying off to Environment.
Excellent. Thank you, Greg.